Richard Ellis here with columnist Bob Robb, and Attorney General Mark Brnovich has said that Arizona is being invaded and that the federal government is not doing what it should to stop it. Bob, you see some troubles with this legal opinion.
It's where he takes it from there. I mean, one can characterize what's happening at the border in a variety of different ways, and those on the populist right define it as an invasion. It's certainly massive disorder, and there's a serious problem at the border. Brnovich leaps from that to say that calling it an invasion and concluding that it's an invasion triggers under the US Constitution the ability of the state of Arizona to engage in war. That's the language used by the Constitution. And I call that a stunningly sloppy political analysis because what you would do when you're engaged in war is just something nobody would contemplate doing on the border or would consider authorized. And Brnovich contradicts himself in the course of the opinion by saying whatever we do has to comply with applicable federal law. Well, if it's a constitutional right that adheres to the state, the federal government can't restrict it. So it's a highly unfortunate and mostly political document.
Yeah, the opinion came at the request of a state lawmaker, Jake Hoffman, who asked essentially that, I guess, Ducey do something, or the National Guard be deployed in a way different than they are now to actually take some level of enforcement measures or even some deportation measures. But I guess you're saying if you're using this clause, the measure that it allows you to take is full-scale war, and there's a definition of what war means.
Yeah, I mean, war isn't law enforcement. In war, you can shoot and kill enemy combatants without any consideration of due process. You can take prisoners of war and you can detain them for the duration of the conflict with certain conditions of care being specified by international law, but very minimal due process rights. You cannot interpret that section of the US Constitution to say that it applies to, oh, we don't like how the federal government is enforcing federal law, therefore we're going to step in and do it for them. Ducey has already gone as far as federal law permits in using state resources to address the border. Brnovich is trying to imply that he can go further, but as I said, he contradicts himself by saying that whatever Ducey does has to fit with applicable federal law. Well, it's either a sovereign state right or it's not. And Brnovich doesn't bother to say in the exercise of that sovereign state right, as he proclaims it, which federal laws we have to adhere to and which federal laws we can ignore. As I said, just as a matter of legal logic, it's stunningly sloppy. And it's clear that it's a political document. And like much of what Brnovich is doing in the Attorney General's office, as much a element of his US Senate race as it is actually doing the job of Attorney General of Arizona.
That's true. We should mention he is running for the Republican nomination for U.S. Senate, and you point out in the column that that essentially his campaign apparatus seems to be, in your opinion, the office of the Attorney General.
It is. I mean, you look at this particular document. Attorney General Brnovich tweets out a statement about it. Almost simultaneously, Brnovich's U.S. Senate campaign tweets out a retweet with some fierce statement about immigration from Brnovich. He really doesn't have much of an independent U.S. Senate campaign operation. He hasn't raised much money. He doesn't have a lot of grassroots support. What he has is his current office and his ability to generate attention from his activities in those offices. And in reality, his conduct of the AG's office has become his US Senate campaign. I call it an unseemly fusion. And this particular opinion is as good of an illustration of that as we've had to date.